Thanks in advance. I'm very new to practicing meditation, or trying to, and I find that when I start, I usually become more aware of like my heartbeat, so I can feel it in my hands, and then I'll also find that my mind does start to wander into, it's almost like I'm dreaming, and it'll be of being chased or the ocean, and sometimes I get worried because when I go into that train of thought, I often end up falling asleep. So I wanted to know if my mind starts wandering into different images, should I follow it through? Because I'm usually following it through with the understanding that my mind is going through this passage, but I also know that when I let it go to that extent, sometimes it's what I do before I fall asleep. So how do I continue doing that until eventually my mind just stays focused on the present moment? Or do I try, and if I know that I'm going to slip into sleep, I refocus it? That's what I was wondering.
So at the beginning, we should take the body at the pivotal point. So that is our target. So while you are shooting, whether it is your arrow or your bullet is hitting the target or not, you can understand. More and more you go there, your aim is not the target board. Later you focus more and more to the bullseye. So that is the way the concentration come into play as far as the mindfulness becomes sharper. And when and where your mindfulness is continuous with the same object, that may be the breath or your whole body or your rising and falling or whatever may be, more and more it becomes familiar, less and less become dramatic. Less and less it becomes interesting. So therefore, kind of a boredom sets in, kind of a monotony sets in. So therefore, whenever the mindfulness come in, gathering the momentum, that the shades of sloth and torpor, kind of a slimy mind, congealing mind can come in. It's also good sign if you go prepared. Otherwise, you recognize this as a sloth and torpor, but it is kind of a slimy, it's kind of a boredom, kind of a monotony happens. So therefore, in a way, it's a progress in the mindfulness. But if you are not really go prepared, easily you can fall into sleep even. So therefore, how to select, how to understand whether your mind is become slimy and sleepy or it is more and more focused. The Pandita Sayadaw from Burma, he mentioned, whenever you wake up, I mean in the same sitting, if the mind come back to the primary object, it's a good sign. If the mind is come back and still in the wandering, that means something wrong. So I am again emphasizing, way back home, you have to monitor. That is the secret there. So let the mind wander off for the past, future, fantasizing or sleepiness. But it is not the end of the episode. Whenever it's come back, just see how quickly, how frequently you can go back to the primary object. If naturally come to the primary object, it is not a kind of sleep. It's a kind of a slimy mind. So next day, go prepared. And that is the way you go to the deeper levels of your mind. So you have to facilitate it, but many people fall into that trap. But it is not a crime, not punishable.